Welcome to Sports Talk, In the Burgh.
And welcome to another edition of Sports Talk in the Burgh, where everyone knows your name. My name is Nick Hedrick, and I'm really, really sad that the AAF is done. But I'm still in good spirits over here on Exile Island because I'm with my three best friends ever. Let's meet them. First, the Whiskered Warrior, the man who, now that the AAF has folded, only has 17 favorite teams, my good friend Adam Maluso. And next, I found out that he loves Creed, and each and every day he welcomes me into the office with our arms wide open. It is Michael Shuley. And lastly,
wait, who doesn't love Creed?
The AAF went away faster than his hairline, although I've been told he has a perfect set of you don't have a set of hair, head of hair. The kids like Logan Paul, but I like the Chancellor, Logan Carney. Let's get right into it, boys. So March Madness is coming to an end. Heavy favorites Duke and North Carolina are out, and it is anybody's guess as to who will walk away as champion. What are your favorite moments from this year's tournament, and what do you see happening in the Final Four? Mike, what do you think will happen? And the bigger question, could our intramural team hang with any of these guys?
Well, Hedrick, our intramural team couldn't hang with the other teams in the intramural league, so I'm going to say no to that one. But as for the tournament, kind of my overall thoughts, I'm glad that Duke and North Carolina aren't in it anymore, so we don't have to worry about one of them winning it. I would like to see Zion in there because I like to see the best players on the biggest stages. But that Duke team was kind of a disappointment. We talked about it before the show. I'm really intrigued by this Texas Tech team. Not really a Cinderella in here this year. We got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 5 seed, but there's still some great storylines.
Yeah, I think that the big thing with me for Texas Tech, I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say they will win it all. Not that they're huge offensively. They have offensive powers, but what really got to me was their defensive prowess against Buffalo. That was a good offensive and defensive, two of the best matched up. They have just over 24 defensive rebounds a game. If they can stay out of trouble, because the one thing that hurts them is their personal fouls at 17.4 a game, if they stay out of trouble, you could be looking at a very dangerous team to win it all down the stretch.
You mentioned
I got a question.
Story. Well,
I got a question.
All right, I was just thanks for cutting me off there, Nick.
Auburn, Texas Tech, first time ever in the tournament. How do they handle going up against Izzo and the number one team, Virginia?
I don't think Auburn has. I know they looked good in the Elite Eight against Kentucky when they knocked off obviously Calipari, phenomenal program that he's built there, one of the dynasties in college basketball, but. Virginia's on a revenge tour this year. They got embarrassed last year. That's something that even if they win this year, that's never gonna live down. That's my storyline. That was my storyline from day one, and that's who I think is gonna end up winning it all. I don't think Auburn. Texas Tech, I can see have a chance, but Michigan State, it's one of those great Izzo teams. Izzo always gets it done in the tournament. I'm saying Virginia over Michigan State in the championship.
All right, and we're going to move on to not the hardwood. We're going to clear the way for Vince McMahon in the XFL because yesterday the AAF announced that they would be suspending all football operations. So what do you guys think went wrong? What would you have done differently if you were in charge? Adam, you have a lot of ideas, so tell me some.
I think the huge thing for me, it was incredibly disappointing to see the AAF go under. To me, it seemed to be free of all the penalties and the restraints that I think plague the NFL. But in essence, I think it delivered exciting football to cities that didn't have a professional NFL franchise. But I think what happened here, it's plain and simple. You're dealing with an owner in Tom Dundon who couldn't put his money where his mouth is.
All right, so here's the deal. Delivering exciting football, Maluso, if it was that exciting, people would have watched. And at the end of the day,
it outranked an NBA on ABC game.
Here's the thing. That's opening week.
It doesn't matter though. It's still showing the ratings. Ratings
in
are
an NBA game where the stars didn't even play in it.
Are you aware that last week they didn't crack the top 50 in ratings?
Yeah, so follow the money. If it was making money, it'd still be around. If it was making money, the owner would put his money where his mouth was. If it was making money, they'd have viewers.
$250 million. He played.
Only
Exactly why it's not making money.
It's not a good investment for him to put the $250 million in if no one's watching, no one cares.
Look, the reason that the AAF, my apologies, failed is the same reason that the XFL failed. It's the wrong letters. It's not the NFL. There's only going to be one football league. The NFL doesn't care about having a minor league. The NFL doesn't need a minor league, and that's what the AAF was striving to be. The NFL doesn't need that because it's the premier league in the world. It makes more money than any other league in the world. No other football league is going to survive.
And to chime in, where college football works and where the difference between that and AAF, you don't have any prospects in the AAF.
Yeah.
I don't care. They're a bunch of washed up scrubs. I don't care if Trent Richardson gets back in the league. Why? So he could be a third string running back on a team that I don't care about? No. I watch college football because I want to see who's coming next in the NFL because that's what I like to see. You don't have that in the AAF, and the talent isn't there, and it's not the NFL.
I would love for a league to make it, but in football, there's only ever going to be one.
All right, moving on to baseball. I once struck out 13 games in a row in baseball. Fun fact. Turns out I needed glasses, and I'm mentioning this because baseball is here. Who are your surprise teams this season, and what teams should we keep an eye on? Logan, take it away.
Well, me and Meluso picked.
Who's Melissa?
I don't know why. I can't talk.
Did you have another meeting before the show I wasn't invited to?
But no, so me and Meluso picked the same team, but I'm not even
shocked there.
I really don't think that there is a surprise team. I mean, I picked the White Sox just because I felt obligated to pick the White Sox.
I completely
but I don't think that there is a surprise. I don't think there is a surprise team this year. I really don't.
Team, and a little bit more later in my final take, by the way, I think the league is at a good position where there's a lot of parity in the league, and I think there's a lot of very solid teams out there. There's not a whole lot of horrendous teams. There's a handful of elite teams, but the middle of the pack is very strong. There's a lot of teams that are predicted to finish at or above 500.
You have those top teams, and then I agree 100%. After the Red Sox and Dodgers and teams like that, there is a huge drop.
But what makes this huge for the White Sox for me, yes, you can have really good, solid teams, major leaguers. I think that what builds a good team, though, is a solid farm system, and that is what the White Sox have.
Let me chime back in here, because I picked the Pirates, and the reason I picked the Pirates is I've seen a lot of win projections and stuff. They have them below 500. I have them at 85 wins, personally. I think that this team is, it's solid enough, especially in that division. They had a good record in the division last year, the best out of any other team in the division last year that was like in inter-division play. I think they're going to succeed in that area. I think their pitching staff is highly undervalued. I think they're going to be at 85 wins, though. They still might miss the playoffs.
I agree with 85 wins. I think they will miss the playoffs, and that's why I don't think people. I mean, I've seen some of those projections, but I've also seen most projections I've seen for the Pirates have them around 500. Right. I don't see them as a surprise, especially if they get 85 wins, because I think a lot of people are expecting.
I have them as a surprise because I think people have them so underrated.
Right. The White Sox have like Melissa. You said they have really good young players, but they're not better than the Indians. They're not going to make the playoffs. That's not a surprise to me.
Come to mind. They don't have Michael Kopech for all of 2019 because he had Tommy John surgery. But if they have guys, they have Eloy Jimenez as a top prospect, Dylan Cease. If those prospects can step up and get the call, White Sox could be a big underlier here.
All right, we're going to stay at the diamond here as the Pirates are back at it again, blowing late full-run leads. So my question to you guys is, what are your thoughts on this season, and what do you think the Pirates' final record will be? Mike, you mentioned the Pirates earlier, so you have the honor of going first.
Yeah, and like I just said in the last block, I think they're going to win 80. I think they're going to win 85 games this year. But 85 wins in that division where you have the Brewers, you have the Cubs, you have the Cardinals, and even the Reds. I think that 85 wins might be good enough for fourth place in the division. I think that's a very tight division. But yeah, I'm going to let it open for you guys.
It is a tight division. Why don't we take a look at our record predictions right here? I had them at 89. Belusa, you have them.
I have 92.
A little bit. 90 is a little bit too much for above 90.
I actually have them at 92 and 70. I just think that they will make a decent turnaround this year to get that far. I know it may seem a little bit.
That's a little bit. That is a little bit wrong. Yeah. Belusa has 92 wins and 80. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but yeah, I'm at 89. You 92.
For me, I think the two biggest players that can make a big impact on this team, they're returning Trevor Williams on the mound, Colin Moran at bat. Moran's leading
Cole
this team
Moran?
right now.
Really?
It's average hit at bat. He has 7.75%.
He won't even-
he's leading
and
the
Williams
team
is
right
right
now.
behind him
They
at
He's not a
500.
starter.
He won't even be the starter in a week.
Yeah.
He's not even the starter at third base.
I mean,
he's not going to be one of the guys.
But I think if
I
he
agree
gets
with
up
you on
behind
Trevor
the bat-
Williams. I think Trevor Williams is a great pitcher.
I will agree with you this. I think Colin Moran is one of the most intriguing players on
Right,
this team.
and
Because I
that's
think
what-
he's a player
yeah.
with a lot of upside. You know, the guy in front of him, Jung Ho Gung, aging, hasn't been in the league in a while. But I think Moran, he had a half-decent season last year. He's still young. He's, 26 years old?
26, yeah.
I think he's the type of person, or they brought him in because he has a lot of upside when they traded for him.
Not
so I
this-
think he could develop, maybe not this year.
Not this year. I
But
don't see
I
it
think he
happening
can make
this year.
Definitely
steps
through
towards
the next year and the
being
year
an
after.
everyday player.
If I think 89 wins is where I have them, and that's the only reason I say 89 wins because on my radio show earlier in the week I picked them at 89 wins. I know I'm not so confident this
Nice
week.
plug.
That's not an
That's a plug
overreaction.
for the
But
show.
Very nice plug.
thank you. But I agree. The pitching staff's phenomenal. I love the bullpen. I love the back end of the bullpen. I love the rotation. The offense worries me,
The
but I
defense
think
is a little
defense
worrisome
is a little
for
bit
me.
the
as well.
defense is horrible.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. That infield is one of the worst in the MLB.
All
defensively.
right. Sorry to cut you off there, Logan. But now, perhaps, for the first time ever, get ready. Let's talk about arena football. The Burgh Defenders are now 0-2 and not defending all that well after 2 big losses. What are your thoughts on this team, and are they worth seeing, Adam?
I really don't think they're even worth the money. I'm going to say this. The one thing that I think spelled this team's
Do you have
death
to pay to
knell-
go see these guys?
Yes, you do. Because I don't. And like I said, you should have.
No.
You should be able to go for free.
Yeah,
They're not
simple
even
as
worth
that.
it.
No, the Pittsburgh Power didn't work here,
It didn't
and they
work,
were in
yeah.
the top flight of arena football.
They played a
I do
a
not care
PPG
about
for
the
crying
Burgh
out loud.
Defenders. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I don't like.
What made this
I'd
team?
rather.
Yeah.
Would I rather? Let's ask me if I'd like to go watch pickup football at my local high school on a
I think
Saturday
that what made
afternoon.
this team's
No.
death knell huge was they
I can think
made
of
a
100
very,
plays
very
I'd rather do than
unprofessional
watch
move
this. I'm
on
sorry.
Twitter. They went after Mark Madden. Now, you may have whatever opinions you have about Mark Madden, but they made a very unprofessional move going after him on Twitter. And
Well,
then watching their first matchup on
I don't
Facebook
care
Live.
about
See,
that.
so-
I
so-
just
even
have
the-
zero interest in watching low-tier arena
I just
football.
don't understand, Adam. You were interested in the AAF because of the novelty, because it's different. How
I
is this
think
nothing more than a novelty? It's just
honestly,
a novelty football. Why would you not?
There
be
is a
interested in
difference,
this?
though, but this is arena football indoor.
So it's more of a
AAF is
novelty.
still outdoor.
So it's
and
more of a novelty. It's more different.
I'd agree with you with that. I have more of an interest in watching, like, Pittsburgh Power. I liked the Pittsburgh Power when they were here. I just saw that didn't work, and I know for a fact that this probably
I'm not
going to
say it's
It's
work.
not gonna work.
I wouldn't mind go
if
see
you're
the
arguing the
game.
novelty point,
Yeah.
if you're arguing the novelty point, and you're a huge fan of the novelty perspective,
Mhm.
this definitely has more novelty than the AAF.
I mean,
think
they have a
arena
player on it.
football-
It's a
Right.
former Steeler. It's in. Now, look, I understand they've been getting blown out 2 games. They almost got 100 points scored on them in
against
week
them.
1. I believe
Yep.
it was 93.
West
but
Virginia, yeah.
So I can understand you don't want to watch, football that hasn't gotten off the feet well. But again, if attracted
watches
from the
Bills
novelties.
Oh,
Well, just from a novelty
Touche.
perspective, I think going to see them once at the very least. I wouldn't roll it out.
I would go once
But-
and then just really never
Where
do
they
it
play
again.
Cannonsburg? Yeah, I'm not making that drive.
South
I'll pass.
Point.
Like I said, I thought it was
South
weird
Point.
that they were supposed to play at the
still
island, and that
passing.
never happened.
I'm sorry, Burgh Defenders. I'm sorry, Tijuan Benefactor. Pass.
Wow. Well, don't pass on us, because coming up next, we have a lot more RMU sports, a little bit about the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and we will be right back.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
water.
Dad,
We don't.
that's not the kind of help I need.
broadcast our games on radio.
Hey, Jessica? Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
I was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! And welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. My contact is no longer glued to my eye, so let's try this again. We are transferring over to RMU basketball. Let's start with your thoughts on the 2 new junior recruits that are coming in. And what do you think about the big announcement that Pitt will be playing RMU in the UPMC Event Center's first basketball game? This guy hates Pitt, so let's hear him talk about him. Logan, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, sure, I hate Pitt. All right, I'm not even going to acknowledge that one.
Well, you just did for about 5 seconds.
So it's kind of late.
Fine. You got me. What did I say? Okay,
get the
ball rolling. Yeah, get the ball rolling. I love the recruits. I love the JUCO recruits. They've had success with JUCOs, most notably Malik Petaway this past year, who they're still trying to get to come back, was a JUCO recruit. The two of them, DJ Russell and AJ Braham, both 3-star JUCO recruits, both of them in the top 50 in the country for JUCO recruits. Both of them had some other big schools that were looking at them. RMU got them. And I think it's a great way to get, because the team's going to be deeper. They're both big guys. They'll help them with the big men, especially if they lose Petaway or some other players to transfer. It will definitely help them there. I love it. As far as hosting Pitt goes, it seems like it might be a little bit of a handout from Pitt, but it's a great way. It's the absolute perfect way to open up the new arena.
I'm going to make this a quick remark. I know that I don't say this a lot regarding RMU basketball. I think that will draw, like I'll say it again, RMU Kentucky vibes. So that will pack the place out. I don't know if for that game though. I don't think
necessarily. I wouldn't go that far, but certainly it's going to be a packed house.
Right.
You're going to have the new arena opening.
It's an easy way to guarantee a sellout of the first game.
Yes, 100%.
It's a great idea for the university. As for the recruits, I'm really excited. And kind of tie the two things in here. Braham said, and I'm pulling this up from Pittsburgh Sports Now, there's a quote, "It's an up-and-coming program with the new facilities they have, the players coming back and new players coming in." If I'm RMU, I'm loving that. Talking about the new facilities, definitely. And I'm excited about them. They're big, they're athletic. I was watching Braham's take. That dude can dunk.
Russell averaged.
He can shoot.
Russell
averaged a double-double. He averaged double-double.
This is huge for RMU. I think, this is going to put them, if they weren't already towards the top of the NEC, which they were, they finished, 4th, I think, in the regular season, and then won in the first round again.
Third.
Regardless, I think this puts them on a next tier. I think they're coming in right now, bringing back who they're bringing back. Yes, they lose Matty McConnell, but I think that with these new guys that they could survive and overcome this.
I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
All right, so we are moving to the links now. I myself once came in second to last in the 8th grade golf tournament. That was back home in Erie.
I can one-up that, Hedrick. I finished last in the golf tryouts.
Ooh. All right. But RMU Golf, on the other hand, won their last tournament. It's their second win of the season. Do you guys think RMU can keep it up? Mike, take it away.
Well, they've been playing well this year. NEC tournament, still 2 tournaments away. NEC tournament is going to start Friday, April 26th.
In Daytona.
In Daytona.
Because that's near all the NEC teams.
Absolutely. Nothing says Northeast Conference like Daytona. By the way, if we want to send me to go cover it, I'd love to go to Florida.
Playing on a beach, I would
they've had their first win of the season came all the way back in September against Northern Kentucky. A big one again this weekend. It's kind of tough to say with these tournaments because it's kind of, hit or miss kind of. But, they're a successful team, one of the better teams.
Not just a successful team. Big shout out to Cal Grube and Max Palmer, who, breaking news an hour ago, were named NEC co-golfers of the month for the tournament, especially how they played this past weekend. Now, this past weekend, they came into that final day. They were down 8 strokes, and they ended up winning the tournament. 20 teams in the tournament. Huge win. Again, it's tough to predict a golf season in a team like that, but they've been pplaying really good this past weekend, especially, and they deserve all the recognition.
But you said you took the words right out of my mouth. Max Palmer. That's even better news. Max Palmer's got 74.3 strokes per round. Kyle Gruber 76.6. They're leading the team here. If they can keep it strong throughout these next couple tournaments, I think I'll say it because I don't think this has ever been said right now. You could look at a team that could possibly win the NEC championship in Daytona Beach this year.
All right, we are now heading over to the world of lacrosse. The RMU women's lacrosse team is off to their best non-conference start in program history. How important was this start to this team, and should we expect to see some dominant NEC play from them this year, or is it too early to call? Meluso, you can go first.
Real quick. Is off. They actually just finished non-conference season. I've been waiting all show to correct you in something. Meluso, go ahead and start.
So I really think that you can make a deep run into the NEC tournament with these girls. The NCAA tournament is just a little bit too early for me to tell, in my opinion. I feel like you're going to see two players really step up. They're returners. The Gandy twins, Mackenzie, she has 24 goals and 14 assists for 38 points, and Melanie, 18 goals, 15 assists for 33 points. They're right up there behind each other. I think that they're going to be the main offensive threat that comes through, and you can carry the Colonials, not all the way, but definitely through the NEC tournament.
I think definitely, and they made it to the tournament last year. I expect them to be back this year. They're off to the, like we said, the best start that they've ever had. Certainly, it's going to be kind of a different beast once you get into NEC play. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to women's college lacrosse, so I don't have much to offer. It stakes or in respect to the strength of their out-of-conference schedule. However, I know for a fact that it's almost every division in the NEC. It's always very close, and there's a lot of parity in the schools, and I think it's going to be the same here with women's.
I mean, there were It's again, that's just women's lacrosse as a whole. It's very, very parity. But 7-2, regardless of who you're playing, it's still significant because that was the best non-conference stretch in history. That was the best.
I think consistency is really what separates the good teams from the great teams, and coming through and seeing that 7-2 record and how consistent they were. Because even the games that they lost, 6-12, that's a bad loss to George Washington, and a 7-10 loss, that's fairly close.
And there's some good players. The Gandy twins, as Meluso mentioned, are going to be key. But one player, Cleo Kerr, Team Ireland's player, is going to be a national player. It's third on the team in goals, and they're an offensive threat in the team. They have a lot. They have a couple great netminders, especially Caitlin Miller, who's been very strong this year. The team, there's no doubt in my mind that they can, at the very least, compete for an NEC title.
All right, moving on to soccer now. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds are stumbling out of the gate thus far in this season as they're off to an 0-1-2 start. After last year's great run, what is the cause for their slow start this season? And are we looking into this too much? It's still early. Logan, I think you might have mentioned that you've seen the Riverhounds a few times. Do you want to start for us?
Yeah, and this is similar with the Pirates. Yes, we're looking into them too early. It's only 3 games of the season. They haven't even played one home game yet. That being said, there are some things I liked. I watched this team last year. In 3 games they have 4 goals. This team did not score a lot last year. That's still pretty decent when it comes into soccer, especially just when that was your biggest weakness. Well, the fact that they're scoring is a good thing.
To me, what's worrisome though is the 6 goals they've allowed in 3 games.
6 goals they've allowed.
They have to tighten some things up on the back line because you're not going to win too many games when you're allowing 2 goals.
And they've only had, even in the first few games, 3 games, they've had 11 shots on target in the first 3 games. But what worries me is their conversion rate. That's at 14.8% right now. It is only 3 games, but you definitely want to up that as the season goes along, and that'll be a little bit worrisome if they can't get there.
And to get back, I'm going to transition back to the offense here, though. It's good to see that they've scored those 4 goals in their last 2 games, especially after we saw the offense struggle so much in preseason.
Yeah, in the last year, they finished actually towards the bottom of the entire USL in goals. They only had, outside of Nico Brett, there was really nobody. There was no scoring threat for the Riverhounds. So honestly, I'm looking at these games, and I know the 1-2, 6 goals. I'm looking at taking away the positive, the fact that they are scoring more, at least to start the year, than they did last year.
All right, really quick, guys. What are your thoughts on this NBA season? Season's coming to an end. What are your thoughts?
I personally think my best pick for the West, the Warriors, and for the East, the Raptors. I think for the West, for the Warriors, what's going to be interesting to see if Kevin Durant can control himself in terms of fouls. It was just broken last night. They won over Denver, but he just got his 15 technical, and they have 60 right now. And can he keep himself in check?
It's the Warriors.
Yeah, that's just the Raptors. I mean, they have powerhouses in Kawhi Leonard.
I think your main story is the East.
And for me, that'll be the
Warriors. I still think are far and away better than everyone in the West. It's close, but I think your main storyline in the NBA is what happens in the East.
I'm gonna be real quick on mine. Real quick. The 76ers finished 8.5 back. The Celtics finished 12 games back. These were supposed to be your big powerhouses. Yes, they were 3 and 4, but if I'm looking at that, there's no reason they shouldn't have been 1 and 2 this year. That's what I'm taking away from the Eastern Conference.
All right, and don't you change the channel, because coming up next, it is Final Takes. That's right, you can hear our thoughts uninterrupted right after the break. Stay with us.
I was physically at school, but my mind wasn't at school. I had problems at home. So when I met our niece, she started helping me a little bit, like, Nia, I don't know what you're doing, but your future is more important. She's my strength. It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. It changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be blood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the Mom. You don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
And welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. It is time for Final Takes, perhaps our favorite part of the show. Maybe, maybe not. We're going to throw it right to Michael Shuley.
Oh, well, thanks, Nick Hedrick. Well, I'm just going to jump right into this. We're going to start off our Final Takes, and I'm going to talk about the MLB. Now, let's put aside the business part of the league and the fact that some fans think the games run entirely too long, and let's look at the product on the field. Based on this, baseball's in a great position, I think. I cannot wait to watch the playoffs races this year because I think that things are going to be incredibly interesting down the stretch due to the fact that there are a ton of good teams in the league. The league this season, let's just start over in the American League. In the East, you have the Red Sox and the Yankees who are going to battle it out all year. And, oh, yeah, the Rays are probably going to win close to 90 games as well. In the Central, the Indians may walk away with the division, but the Twins and the White Sox are incredibly intriguing teams to watch as their young rosters develop. In the AL West, the Astros will probably going to pull away again, but the Mariners and the Athletics and the Angels as well, once again, very solid rosters. Things are interesting even more in the National League, I think. In the East, there are 4 legitimate contenders in the Phillies, Nationals, Braves, and Mets. As for the NL Central, this is the best division in baseball, in my opinion, or at least the most competitive. The projections show that I've seen projections where all 5 teams in the Central, are projected to win above 50% of their games. And in the West, the Dodgers are going to walk away with it, but the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, as well as the Padres, are all teams that are on the up and up, and I think could finish around 500 as well. So with all these teams that are, they might not be great teams, I'm excited to see, not necessarily who wins, but the wild card races this year are going to be absolutely phenomenal.
So for my final take this week, I want to address the complex situation that is currently going on in the world of women's hockey. It's specifically the merging of 2 CWHL teams, Toronto and Montreal, into the NWHL. I feel that this is an amazing move to help grow the game, strive more for pay equality in the great sport of hockey, and gives women the chance to be truly represented on a national and a professional stage. The backing of the NHL and the NHLPA fully encompasses this change even more. So I have just one more thing to say to all the players out there, and that is play on, ladies. You deserve it.
For my final take, I'm going to talk about the excitement that is opening day baseball. And by excitement here in Pittsburgh, I really mean having to deal with the annoying negative fan base. The sky is falling because Bob Dunning wouldn't buy an umbrella called Pirate fans. Look, the team already proved all of you wrong last year by not losing 100 games like you all predicted and actually finishing with a winning record. While I do agree the offseason was lackluster at best, but on the whole, they are going to lose 100 games because the Reds added a bunch of has-beens for 1 year is really starting to get on my nerves. The people that say they only care about being negative, they want the Pirates to lose so that they can scream, "I was right" from the rooftops of the UPMC Event Center. I don't know why I just threw that in. I just felt like doing it if the team wins. Then they'll say if it isn't good, they aren't good enough because they won with a low payroll. Stop complaining about the financial side. It's not dollar bills on the field. It's actual people. And the people in the Pirates are talented. Well, that's all the time that we have for Sports Talk in the Burgh. Join us in 2 weeks, which will actually be my last episode ever.
Thank God.
I know, right? So we'll see you guys all in 2 weeks. Have a good night, everyone. Well, I don't know why. I couldn't bear